Good afternoon, sir.
Please come, Avinash.
Yes, sir.
Please take a seat.
Thank you, sir.
So, Avinash, tell the panel about yourself very briefly, about your academic qualifications, work experience if you have any, and main hobbies.
Okay. Sir, I am Avinash Kumar. I am born and brought up in Bihar, and my primary schooling happened from there only. Then I did my +2 from Chinmaya Vidyalaya, Bokaro, and then after I went to Jadavpur University and did Bachelor in Power Engineering. And right after that, I worked for a year in a thermal power plant in Kolkata itself. And then since then, I've been preparing for this exam. And my hobbies are doing Vipassana meditation and pranayama.
So, Avinash, from technocrat to trying to be a bureaucrat, why you are seeking entry into civil services? Any special reasons?
Sir, to be honest, my interest in engineering was primarily academic. And when I worked in the industry, I realized that probably I would not be able to pursue this as a career. And then I had an inclination towards civil services. So I decided to move in this field.
But why civil service?
Sir, I come from a small village, so I have seen all kinds of lives there, and the feeling to do something for the nation and for the people was there. And especially during COVID times, I think it made me more clear that I wanted to switch to civil services.
Avinash, you are from Bihar.
Yes, sir.
Bihar is undertaking caste census.
Yes.
Now, other states have not started. There is also a call from Bihar government that it should be done on pan-India basis.
Yes.
So, what are your views about the caste census, whether it is going to be useful for good governance, and whether you would suggest that other states should also follow suit?
Sir, I am aware of the political nature of the issue, but I think as an engineer, I would say that it's always better to have more data so that we can have scientific approach towards our socio-economic welfare programs. And in fact, for reservation also, if we have more data and better understanding of what the different castes are having, then I think within the segments like within OBC or within SC/ST, there also inter-caste parity could be maintained through this. So I think it could be taken, but there are political sides to it as well. So that needs to be taken care of.
No, that you cannot take care of as a bureaucrat.
No, as a bureaucrat, no, I am saying just like...
Yes, so what are those advantages? You said data. Suppose
Yes.
you have the census data with you, and now you are a policy maker, in the Secretariat of Bihar government.
Yes.
Now, how would you use, suppose you're in the education sector. Now, how would you use this caste census data?
Okay. So we can have the different castes mapping on the education basis, that which castes in the particular category are lagging, and depending upon that we can make a policy which would target that particular caste group, and accordingly the steps could be taken.
Avinash, when do you think our dependence on coal for our energy needs will end?
Ending is a long-term phenomenon. Right now, we are 58%. Our 58% of electrical energy is being generated through fossil fuels. So, I think the Prime Minister has already given the Panchamrit in the COP27. So, based on that, I think 50% is the target now. That 50% from the renewables by 2030. So let's see. I think not in the near future.
So you mean to say it will end only when our reserves of coal ends?
Not really. I mean, if we have a huge power demand, so if the nuclear energy can be generated to meet that demand, given that nuclear energy also has certain downfalls, then we can shift. Otherwise, I don't see in the near future happening.
I pass on to Sharda.
Avinash, you know?
Yes.
Avinash, tell me, besides the Ukraine and Russia war,
Yes.
where else the active war is going on?
Active war. I think in Syria it's going for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And who are the players in Syria? Insiders, outsiders?
Okay. So insider the government is there,
Mm-hmm.
and the outsiders the major geopolitical powers like Russia and United States also, and
There is no more insider other than government?
the Islamic State, the radical groups in the
So that is important.
Yes.
I mean, after all, government must be fighting with someone.
yes. So I was to mention that in non-state.
Okay. Okay. So what you said that government is there, then what you call non-state actors are there,
Yes.
and among the outsiders,
Russia and United States and probably Israel is also there. I'm not sure.
whether France and Germany are also interested in that war.
I'm not very sure.
Yeah. Or are they concerned with it if not interested?
Yes, it's a global concern.
But specifically I'm asking these two countries.
France just withdrew its operation in the Sahel region of Africa. So I'm not sure whether they have the capability to go directly into the war or whether they want it or not. But as a nation, if the radicalized groups become a state actor and are successful in establishing the caliphate, then it's a menace for sure for the Europe also. But for those particular countries, I have no ideas. I really know that.
They are concerned that these refugees are trickling.
Yes. Refugees are
that
entering
side.
into the Europe.
They are not that much going to the Muslim countries.
Yes.
They are going to Europe.
Yes.
For them, Europe is most important. Okay. If we have to improve the output in the agriculture sector,
Yes.
do you think this gene modified crops are necessary?
Gene modified crops have an environmental issue with them that they bring the modified genes in them. So regarding productivity, the BT cotton has shown some improvement, but not as much as it was expected. And in food, I think the gene modified crops should not be used because we are not sure what could be the effect of those crops on human body and the successive genetic makeup of the humans.
But they are in there for pretty long time by now, many decades. There must be some studies on it, and I think some part of the world they are already being cultivated.
Yes.
Is it not? And used.
Yes.
So how is it that we are not exposed to the research work done in that area, and still we are hazy about their effect?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Any two crops where people are talking about? Two food crops which we are talking about?
Yes, mustard oil and BT brinjal is also being.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
You said you come from a rural area,
Yes.
right? So let's talk about rural India and your district, Araria.
Araria. Yes.
So if you were made in charge in that district,
Yes.
what three things you would like to improve in your district?
Araria district has some specific issues, sir, such as it ranks poorly on the social indicators of development, such as literacy rates and sex ratio, or even IMR and MMR. And then there are issues like communal classes, because the demography is such that communal classes also happens. And I think Nepal border is there, so the issue of smuggling through Nepal border is also very big. So I would like to take action on these 3 fronts.
Can you tell me about demography of Bihar?
The religious demography or
Population
um,
and spread of population.
okay.
Does Bihar have demographic dividend?
Yes, it has demography.
So let's hear about demography of Bihar.
The population is around 10 to 11 crores, and a vast majority of population lies in the age bracket of 15 to 25, and the percentage I am not aware. And the sex ratio is skewed, 930, around 930, and the literacy rate is 61%.
Okay. You mentioned about communal rights in
Yes.
those areas and that you would like, but can you recall when was the first communal right ever reported in the history?
Like in the first, I am not very sure, but during the partition time, there was a very serious communal right.
So that means communal right is a much later phenomena. So what do you think attributes to communal right?
One issue is certainly the scarcity of resources, which leads to different groups claiming for the scarce resources, and then conflict happens, especially the middle class. And there are theological reasons as well, and the political polarization is also one of the reasons.
Two terms are in news these days, moonlighting
Yes.
and gaslighting. So what is moonlighting and what is gaslighting?
Moonlighting.
Gaslighting in fact is the word of the year.
Gaslighting, I'm not very sure, but moonlighting is when an employee works in 2 companies, especially in the IT sector. That he will be working in, let's say, Wipro, and then at night he will also be working at Infosys. And gaslighting, I'm not sure.
We are not sure. All right. Do you think social media has bridged gap between government and people?
Yes, it has done so.
In what way will you use social media to improve the image of police?
Image of positive stories of police helping the citizens can be brought through the social media, and also like police can be made citizen friendly through social media. Citizens could lodge their complaint there, and police could take quick actions from there. So it would improve the image of police.
Only positive stories, or you would like to reach out with something more?
For image building,
For improving the image of police?
yes, citizen-centric policing can be promoted.
Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead. That's what I was looking for.
Yes, though citizens could be made the stakeholders of the policing, and they could be the citizens could report any unlawful act through the social media, and then the police could act swiftly on that.
What is difference between cryptocurrency, CBDC and e-rupee?
Okay. Cryptocurrency is a digital currency which is not backed by any central government, and there is no commodity behind it. It's simply based on speculation. And CBDC is central bank digital currency. It is issued by the central bank, and it's just like the paper currency in the digital format. I think China has also issued, and RBI is doing pilot projects on this. And e-rupee is more like a coupon. It could be sent to the beneficiary's account, and the mobile numbers, and then they could use it to get the money.
Okay. And where do you see India at 100? when India achieves 100 years of freedom?
Yes. I think the Prime Minister has, Honorable Prime Minister has already shown us the way in the Independence Day speech. He talked about Panch Pran. In that, he has talked about the developed country by 2047 and a country which is confident enough in its civilizational roots and also gives away the colonial hangover. I think these 3 points and two I am
Okay. Last question I want to ask you is, would you like to suggest any changes in civil service format,
the
examination or after recruitment, any any changes in civil service that you would like to do?
Okay, so I think civil services is criticized for red tapeism. Bureaupathology is the term given to it. So I think civil services, civil servants should be more approachable and more quick on decision making and should be citizen friendly. The elitism should go away.
Thank you, sir. Well, Avinash, your option was philosophy. What has been the most dominant philosophical thought in Indian context and how it is useful in the contemporary world?
Indian philosophy has always had a trend of spiritualism. The spiritual tradition had been quite prominent, and the Advait Vedanta is more popular. And the Advait Vedanta could have many utility in the present world. For instance, it talks about one truth behind all of the existence, Brahm. So it can make us go beyond our socio-political boundaries based on caste, creed, culture, and take a holistic view towards all of humanity. Sir.
Good. Now, this for G20, the motto is taken from the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So, the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam has been taken from which text of Indian philosophy?
I'm not sure. Probably Upanishads. I'm not sure.
Upanishad. Yes. Now, who can you tell me 2-3 names of Indian philosophers who have influenced greatly our freedom struggle?
Yes, I think Swami Vivekananda has influenced, and Sri Aurobindo. He was a freedom fighter as well. Later on, became the philosopher. And third, I would say Mahatma Gandhi also to a certain extent. Yes.
So, which philosophical thought do you think would be helpful in your in your career as administrator? Which will be a guiding kind of principle or guiding light? Any philosophical thought we can talk of?
As I told, Advait Vedanta, and from socio-political philosophy, I think we can think of more egalitarian approaches towards administrations.
Good. Avinash, last month there was a very unfortunate incident of this huge tragedy in Bihar, where I think 90 people died, right? And of course, it has put a question on prohibition. I'm not going to talk about that. But also, Chief Minister of Bihar, he made a statement that we will not pay any compensation to the people who have died because of consumption of this illicit liquor. He made a statement that piyoge to maroge. So, what is your view on this?
Probably this statement could have been avoided, and I think the entire policy regarding the liquor prohibition, when something is banned, there is chance of illegal industries coming across, and I think probably that policy could be reviewed.
My main thrust of the question is on paying compensation.
For paying compensation. Yeah. Bihar has not the enough fiscal resource.
But why do we pay any compensation to the people who died in any public incident, tragedy? Say, for example, due to negligence of. Why? What is the principle? What is the philosophy behind that? Why do we pay compensation?
Because if the person dies, then if he is the bread earner of the family, then the family suffers. That's why.
That is one, but also there is, in my opinion, also there is some failure on the part of the government somewhere because of maybe if it is a real accident, it was not properly. So in this case also, does that principle not apply?
Yes, it is this failure of the state to not curb the illegal manufacturing and
Exactly, that is what, yes, exactly. Okay. Now, this COP 27, which ended 2-3 months back, what was the main outcome from that COP 27?
uh, tangible outcome.
Any important takeaway from that COP 27, which the member countries have been trying, particularly in the developing countries? That was done in 26, the 26th COP itself. I'm talking about 27.
I'm not able
Okay,
to-
no problem. Apart from COP 27, there was another COP, concurrent, almost, what was that?
15 of Convention on Biodiversity.
Okay, good. My next question is on, you see, Avinash, Afghanistan, India has a vital strategic and security interest in Afghanistan. So do you think that we should engage with Taliban diplomatically? Do you see any merit in this?
In the national interest, maybe we should be thinking about this. Even though Taliban is something which we never thought before they came to power.
Okay.
But since they are governing right now, so in the national interest, maybe we can talk.
So about your hobbies, my last question would be from your hobbies. You have mentioned Vipassana. So what are the steps in Vipassana?
First step is called Anapan.
Yeah.
There one has to focus on his breath so that the mind becomes concentrated. And then one has to take his senses towards the entire body and feel the sensations without reacting to it. So when this practice is done for a longer period of time.
Okay. But in Vipassana, as I understand, one has to go regularly, maybe regularly at regular intervals of a year or 2 years to attend that complete course of 10 days.
Yes. I have not been able to go after 2017.
2007. Okay. So you practice every day.
Yeah, I practice at home only. Then.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Avinash,
Yes.
what do you mean by delimitation, and why is it being done in Assam alone?
Delimitation is an exercise where the constituency area is defined status of the state. So probably it is being reviewed once again.
Okay. Recently, Vostro accounts were in news. So, what are Vostro accounts, and why were they in news recently?
Vostro accounts are Russian accounts in the Indian banks, and they were in the news because of rupee ruble payment system between India and Russia.
Okay. I would like to talk about OTT platforms.
Yes.
So, comment on the rise of OTT platforms, its impact on movie industries, and about its regulation.
Okay. OTT platforms has been rising since the Digital India took off, and movie industry have now more avenues to release their films. So the average number of films being released in India has also gone up due to the OTT. And regarding its regulation, I would say that creative freedom is also required. So self-regulation model would be better for now.
And where do you see Indian economy in 2030?
2030, I think we can achieve the 5 trillion mark for sure in the nominal terms, and maybe in fourth or third position in the global level.
Thank you. I pass on to Chetan.
So, Avinash, any subject topic which has been left out from your DAF, which we have not covered, or you may, as a last question, we may ask you a question from any of these points, if you can just name.
Okay. So I have stayed in West Bengal also during my college and then 1 year for my job. So maybe you can ask.
All right. So, tell me, Uttar Pradesh is having a global investor summit, to attract investments, industries and all. Now, West Bengal also did the same thing few years ago. But why the industries were running from West Bengal, say, a couple of years back? And do you think that, what exactly are the reasons? Does West Bengal government need labor reforms, or the overall ease of doing business needs to be improved? What exactly is your take? How can you get more investments in West Bengal?
Okay. So West Bengal had a history of opposition to the industrialists. Like Tata had to leave the state and then go to probably Gujarat. So that is a negative precedent for the industries. And regarding what can be done, I will say that ease of doing business is certainly one of the things. And maybe the politics of the day has to realize that for the state to grow, industries are required.
So, thank you, Avinash. You may proceed, and then we'll call you again after 2-3 minutes
Okay.
and give our feedback to you.
Thank you.
Come, Avinash, please come. बैठिए. So, Avinash, now we are informally discussing all about your performance. So, let me give my comments and then we'll ask you if you have any questions. First is that your knowledge is good. Right? I would say that you are also to the point on all the questions, but at times you were too short.
So I was too short.
Too short means in your answer, one-liner answer.
Okay.
Right? So, there could be two reasons. One is that it is your habit. You were asked, does Bihar has demographic dividend? You said yes, it has demographic dividend. Now, it was basically a leading question. You should have elaborated. Then the member said, how can you say that? So, when you said that yes, it has demographic dividend, you should continue with your remaining answer. Probably you did not want to get treed into that area because you did not know it.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. So, in that case, you could, yes, it has demographic dividend. And when the member asked you, can you explain or elaborate further? So, if you did not know, sir, I would not be able to tell exactly and justify. Be frank, instead of giving out some figures which may or may not be correct. I haven't checked your figures whether you are right or wrong.
They should be on average, but not exactly.
But it's always good to be frank, because one can make out. I could make out that you were shirking from one-liner was not per chance; it was deliberate. There's no harm in that also, if you didn't know the answer.
Take your own time in thinking and then coming out with the reply. So, 3 examples. Use of social media for improving the police image. Now, number of states have started using social media for many things. So, you could have connected all that strength of social media which already exists. All right, and thereafter on incidents, police can come out with a positive image role that you mentioned. So, first of all, find out what exactly is being done. It is not that red tapeism. I think on one question you said you would like to do away with the red tapeism. That's why you are there. So, take your time in thinking what changes you would like to make in civil service. Because red tapeism, it's something going on and you are there to break red tapeism. You don't need any systematic change. Digitization itself will bring about a lot of changes. Third is, the moment you mention about communal rights, be prepared for supplementary questions. So I asked you on history of communal rights. So then you should know, at least read up. So idea is that whatever is there in your DAF or whatever you speak, there will be supplementaries emerging out of that. Gaslighting is the word of the year 2022. So that means somewhere lack of current affair, I noticed. So read current affairs. All right. And I think demography of Bihar has already been covered. So that's it. I mean, listen to the question, take a pause, think, and then reply.
आपका फर्स्ट मॉक इंटरव्यू, इसलिए आपकी एंट्री सबसे अच्छी थी. आप पहले ऐसे कैंडिडेट थे जो बटन खोल के आए और वैसे ही आना है, तो अब इसको चेंज करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. तो आपकी एंट्री बहुत अच्छी थी, ओवरऑल पर्सनालिटी बहुत अच्छी थी. बस अपने आंसर्स में एक एक दो दो पॉइंट ऐड कर लीजिए. अदरवाइज 25-30 मिनट्स इंटरव्यू चलेगा, आपसे ज़्यादा क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे, ज़्यादा एरियाज कवर होंगे. तो एक एक दो दो पॉइंट अपने आंसर्स में ऐड कर लीजिए. और एक इंट्रोडक्शन में स्कूल के बारे में मत बोलिएगा, 12th के बारे में आपने कहा था, उसको अवॉइड कीजिए. डायरेक्टली कहाँ से हैं, नाम कहाँ से हैं, और ग्रेजुएशन पे आ जाइए डायरेक्टली. फिर हॉबीज. ठीक है.